Jacksonville University unveiled a new program yesterday on World Sea Turtle Day, appropriately enough. And here to tell us about the launch of JU's fledgling sea turtle program is its director, Lucas Meers. Good morning, Lucas.
Good morning, Anne. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for being here. We're also
For having
joined
me.
by Dr. Bryan Franks. He's the executive director of the school's Marine Science Research Institute. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Jacksonville University unveiled the Sea Turtle program. It's something very close to your heart, Lucas, in part because you're a former student at
Mhm.
JU, but also because after graduating, you went and worked with the partner organization on this, the Mickler's Sea Turtle Patrol.
Yes. So after graduation, I started volunteering with Mickler Sea Turtle Patrol, and I've been with them for 15 years. In 2021, I took over the permit, took over the coordination of the volunteer group, and I was searching for a home for the program for the past couple of years. And after we solidified some funding, I reached out to JU. Was my first choice because it was my home away from home. I knew all the professors. I took the very first class when the MSRI opened in 2009, 2010. So it's great to be back home.
Bryan, what is this program? I mean, that was announced. Who is going to be a part of it? What does it offer students?
Yeah, so, it was a great opportunity for us to bring Lucas home and bring this program to JU. And, it is an area that traditionally we haven't really had much of an impact in the sea turtle kind of space. So it really just aligned very well for us. And it allows our students and our faculty to have these opportunities, these educational as well as research opportunities to gain that real world experience doing scientific research, collecting, robust data that can be used to conserve these species. So for us, it really provided a new opportunity for our students to get involved in a species that, is one of those charismatic species that we care about and is critically important for our oceans.
And it is an expansion of an existing and a robust program that you have in terms of the marine science research. You've got a beautiful building on the St. Johns River. You've got kind of a bunch of labs, a partnership, and sometimes with the river keeper. And so you've got a good program, a very solid program. But this adds something essential.
Yeah, I mean, it adds a new component for us. For us, our mission is to provide educational opportunities for our students, research opportunities, and then also building those connections within the community. And this program really hits all of that for us and allows us to expand what we do and leverage our relationships, our expertise, our students to provide that positive impact for the community as well as for our students.
Lucas, how large of a program is this going to be?
That I don't know. I think the world is our oyster. I would love, right now we have 6 students involved, 6 JU students, both bachelor's and master's students, going out and collecting data and doing some outreach programs with some local schools, public schools. But I hope to have a lot more students involved in the coming years, answering a lot more questions, students that have questions, exploring those questions, the scientific process, and going out there and collecting data themselves. So I really hope to have several more students involved in the program in the coming years.
And the group that you're partnering with, I mean, they are basically in charge, this group that you've been involved
Mhm.
with patrolling the beach. They do it daily during nesting season.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Exactly. So we do it. Michael's Landing Turtle Patrol patrols the beach every single morning, 200 days a year from April 15th through October 31st during the sea turtle nesting season, looking for any new nests and monitoring the existing nests. And we're collecting all of this data to really understand the population of sea turtles in Florida. We're also using this data to influence any beach renourishment projects, when and how they can do that, or any additional beach construction projects for beachfront homeowners on to see their impact on sea turtle nesting.
I'm talking to Lucas Meers and Dr. Bryan Franks about JU's new Sea Turtle program. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more in just 2 minutes.
Museum of Science and History's new exhibition, Mosh Archives, The Story of Us and You, steps you into a treasure trove of memories, now through August 31st. Tickets and information at themosh.org. Tidbits, family owned and operated since 1985, offers dine-in, catering, delivery, and takeout at Bay Meadows, Hendricks, and Mandarin locations. Menu items include fresh sandwiches, salads, and soups, open Monday through Saturday. Online ordering and menu at clarastidbits.com.
The $2.4 trillion One Big Beautiful Bill Act marks a big shift in Republican tax policy. That's according to many conservative economists.
Now the overall balance is to really carve up the tax system, spend a lot on temporary targeted tax cuts, and not have a very meaningful impact on growth.
That's on the next On Point.
Today at 11 on WJCT News 89.9.
Overdose deaths in 2024 fell to their lowest level since before the pandemic. That's according to new CDC numbers. One factor? The wider availability of the overdose reversal drug naloxone. But addiction experts warn the crisis is far from over as the Trump administration eyes cutting addiction treatment programs. Where the U.S. stands in its fight against the opioid epidemic. Next time on 1A.
Today starting at 10 on WJCT News 89.9.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, I am talking to Lucas Meers and Dr. Bryan Franks about Jacksonville University's brand new sea turtle program. I want to start by asking you, Lucas, I mean, this Mickler's program, we should say, is associated with Mickler's Landing in Ponte Vedra, and the beach patrol that you have participated in over the last several years, almost 5 miles of kind of Ponte Vedra
Yep.
Beach. How busy of a place is that when it comes to patrolling for sea turtle nests?
Compared to the rest of Florida, we have what we call a low density beach. But in Northeast Florida, we have a relatively high nesting density. We average about 100 to 120 nests per year. Our highest nesting year was 2022 and 2019 at 184 nests along our 4.5 mile stretch of beach. But we do provide those opportunities. There is enough nests for students to actually experience and do a lot of the nest marking and data collection.
And so the patrols go out and they are keeping an eye out for when there's a kind of a crawl. You can see the turtles have come up from the ocean and either tried or perhaps, tried and failed to lay eggs. So that's something that the patrol monitors keep track of. What are the students going to be doing?
Correct. So our team, which the students are on our team, we have a team of community volunteers and JU students that are walking the beach 30 minutes before sunrise along the most recent high tide line. And we're looking for those turtle tracks that are exiting the water or the most recent high tide line and going up to the dune. And we can identify the species based on the track pattern, and we can identify what she did in the sand based on the clues that she left behind. And so we're collecting data, not only the nest numbers, the number of nests, but also how successful those nests are. So when those nests eventually hatch, we're collecting that. We do a nest productivity assessment, is what it's scientifically called. We call it a nest evaluation. It's a little bit of a softer term, where we count how many eggs hatch and how many didn't hatch, and then we get the success rate of that nest. Because it's not only important to know how many nests we have on the beach and what species, but it's important to know how successful those nests are. How many hatchlings are each nest producing?
And so you can track by looking at the eggs how many have hatched, but is that truly a measure of success? I feel like a lot of times you have, nesting turtles, they hatch and then they go through the dunes and they're heading in the wrong direction and they don't make it or they get picked off by, a predator or the human in some way.
Yeah, we estimate that 1 or 2 out of every 1,000 hatchlings make it to reproductive maturity, which can happen anywhere between 17 and 35 years. And so we do use that as a little bit of a proxy to understand what's going on. We can't determine the exact population of sea turtles, but based on trends over several years, sometimes over decades, we can kind of get an understanding of what's going on with the population of sea turtles.
And what
with
are we
this
seeing?
information. For Florida overall, we're seeing a relatively stable population for loggerheads. In Northeast Florida, we are seeing a little bit of an increase. There was just a massive study done a couple of months ago that was just published, I think in February, where they did an analysis of all the major sea turtle populations around the world, and a little bit more than 50% of the sea turtle populations around the world are increasing in number. There are some that are still struggling due to several factors, particularly in remote areas, sometimes due to poaching or any other climate change and sea level rise. But overall in Florida, we seem to see the population is relatively stable.
So, Brian, I mentioned that this was sort of announced yesterday on National Sea Turtle Day, but what is the school doing to kind of promote this or let students or potential students know that it's available?
Yeah, so, it is relatively new. As you said, we launched it yesterday. You know, Lucas came on board 5, 6 months
Hmm.
ago, and this is really the first nesting season where we've had this partnership. And very quickly, as Lucas mentioned, we already have students involved. And, you know, Lucas can provide his expertise in our courses, coming to speak to our students about sea turtles. And that's really the first connection that a lot of our students have. But most of our students already know about this, are very excited about this, and I continue to see that growth. We are seeing growth across marine science at JU, which is very exciting for us. And this is just another opportunity for students to get involved, and really they are hitting the ground running. You know, Lucas already has students working on the patrols, but then we also have a couple of our students working on independent studies where they're going to be working on specific small portions of the research just themselves, so they can take some ownership of that and get that experience of conducting firsthand research. But really, you know, making that widely known to our students, to be honest, they do a lot of that themselves.
Really.
You know, by talking amongst each other and getting excited. You know, we have a sea turtle program. I can do sea turtle research. And again, being that charismatic species, you know, with our dolphin work that we do and the shark work that we do,
Yeah.
you know, this is just another component for us.
Sure. I mean, those some ways those programs kind of sell themselves.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, Lucas Meers, Dr. Brian Franks, it's great to have you on. Good luck with the program. I'm sure we'll be keeping current on it as it progresses. But
Thank you.
thanks so much for being
Thank you
here
Thank
so
today.
you.
much.